Thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. Today I wanted to talk to you about the appeal process and basically what it looks like, kind of a walkthrough, and most importantly, not to ignore it and not to get frustrated with the VA's initial decision in which you are not satisfied, either being that they denied your claim completely or they gave you a very low rating, a 0%, a 10%, what have you, when you think it should be higher. So I wanted to talk through that a little bit. If that's something that you're interested in, please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, hit notification, whatever, all the things, right? Because that helps us as a community, as a veteran community of brothers and sisters, to get the word out more, because I'll tell you, without a doubt, that is lacking. So help me, help all of us, and I appreciate it. So with this, I want to start off with, you file a claim, you're feeling good about it, and the VA comes back, and it's been however long, 8 months, okay? So you have 8 months vested in the claims process. And let's also add in that maybe you filed an intent to file, which you should have, okay? You should always file an intent to file, even if you're not even sure if you're going to be filing a claim, right? Quite frankly, I know people that you know, they're always filing an intent to file, and if they don't use it and it expires, they file another one. Intent to files don't do anything other than preserve an effective date for you in the event that you file a claim within the next 12 months. So if you file an intent to file, 10 months later you file a claim, your effective date is over here 10 months prior. And then if it takes, we'll just say 10 months to use easy numbers for me. So if it takes another 10 months, now you got 20 months of back pay for any monetary compensation that you've been awarded. So $1,000 a month, well, that's $20,000 in back pay, right? So super important to file that intent to file. So now you've waited, you filed your intent, filed your claim, 10 months goes by, you get it back and you're denied, or you get this low rating and you're not happy with it. For a lot of us, especially the first go, okay, the first time you file a claim, you're going through the process, it's a little cumbersome, it takes forever. You think you're going to get one result and something else comes back, and quite frankly, you're just pissed. You throw your hands in the air and you go, you know what, forget it. I don't need you. I don't need that. I don't need anything. Forget about it. And you turn around and you walk away because you've been doing fine without it. Okay? Wrong answer. And you will regret it later if you do that. I did that. And that sucks. So I did that in 98. And it took me about maybe 15 years after that. So around 2013. I guess, when I actually filed a claim again. So I lost down on 15 years and some really rough times, right? So in there, you have peaks and valleys of life, right? So that's my soapbox. I'll get past it. So make sure that you do not let your rights to appeal expire. You have 1 year. 1 year from the notification that the VA has, completed your claim. And what happens is if you let it expire, now that claim has now been fully adjudicated, case closed, done, finished. Okay. You have that year window to file an appeal. So the VA, obviously, if you're getting some sort of monetary benefit from them, let's say they awarded you 10%, and they did not, you filed for 5 conditions, they awarded 1 at 10%, and all the rest were denied. So you start getting this 10% check, right? That's happening, and that'll continue to happen. You filing an appeal doesn't mess that up. That continues, right? So now you file the appeal, and then depending on the outcome, they ideally are going to award in your benefit, because now you've had a chance to fix the wrongs, and then they would back pay you again all the way back through the time that it's been awarded, through the time that it's been in process, all the way back to that intent to file. So it could be substantial in some cases, okay? I filed an appeal my second go around when I filed my claim. They came back and they awarded me originally 3 10s and a 0. And I was mostly concerned about the one that they gave me a 0, and I was mad. But I was much older. So I took my time, researched, figured it all out, filed my appeal, documented more stuff, gathered more evidence, submitted that, and it turned around and went from a 0% to a 60% because I was missing a lot of evidence. So I was able to fix it. And because of that, I got a 60% rating, and they back paid me a bunch of back pay going back through all the time I had to wait, which was great. So your appeal options, okay, are you can put in for a higher level review. Okay, the higher level review is basically going from an entry level worker to a more seasoned worker, probably like maybe a DRO, a decision review officer, somebody like that, or just a more seasoned rep there, or rater, or what have you, somebody to look at it at a higher level. Okay, you're not adding any evidence. You're just saying, hey, this person probably missed something because I've supplied everything. Now, I'm not always a fan of the higher level review, simply because if they denied it already, they would have had to miss something like really bad. And there's cases where a higher level review is perfect, right? Because it's all clearly there and it's obvious. But more times than not, you could be better served supplying a little additional evidence. And that would be your supplemental claim, which is another appeal option in which you submit additional evidence. Okay, so you can see what their decision was, right? Because they gave you their decision. They'll often tell you, why they rated you where you were, or the service connection. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they denied you the claim altogether, and so maybe you're missing something, right? Maybe you're missing that nexus. I did a video a couple days ago, and that was on the nexus. So the nexus, when you hear nexus, a lot of people assume nexus letter, and nexus is over here, and nexus letter is over here. A nexus letter helps you establish a nexus, a link between your condition and your time in service. Okay, not that the military caused it necessarily, but that it started during the military time, right? So when you hear nexus, it's proving that your condition manifested during your time in service. It can be, the military caused X to me, or it could be I started getting migraines in my military service. Either way, you have to prove that those things started during your time in service. They call that a nexus. Okay, so regardless of what your situation is, if you feel as though additional evidence would be helpful, then you're filing a supplemental claim with that additional evidence. Now, in some cases, it might be something that you feel more comfortable moving straight to the Board of Appeals. Now, the Board of Appeals, which I'm going to look here so I could read you their 3 options, which are essentially the same 3 options. It's kind of like you have the first 3 with the VA, then you have your next 3 options of the same flavor, but with the VBA, with the Board of Appeals. So, your claim goes to you file your appeal to the Board of Veterans Appeals, and then you have a direct review where you submit no additional evidence. Again, this would only be something to where, the VA is clearly in violation of the law. The judges are just looking at it strictly through the lens of law, right? So an example would be if all of the evidence was for you and against you exactly equal, the law says that the VA is supposed to rule in your favor. It's called, if your evidence is in equipoise, they're supposed to rule in your favor. Oftentimes you'll hear people like me, and myself included, say things like, at least likely as not, which means a coin flip, 50-50, equipoise, equal, supposed to rule in your favor. So the judges are attuned to that, and the judges understand lay evidence. Lay evidence is things like your buddy statements and that type of stuff. So anyway, direct review is no additional evidence through the Board of Appeals, the Board of Veterans Appeals. Then you have evidence submission, which allows you to submit additional evidence without a hearing. So they just review everything and they'll make their decision. Now, for me, that's what I did on one of my claims. So this earlier I spoke about the one where I went from a 0 to a 60. I had one where I filed for an increase from 30 to 50. It was denied. I filed an appeal, took it to the board, and I submitted additional evidence, and I allowed them to review it and make their own decision. I didn't need to argue it, talk about it, anything. I knew that the evidence that I provided was going to be sufficient, and they did rule in my favor and gave me the bump. So, and then your last choice is a hearing in which you submit that additional evidence, but you would also have an actual hearing with the judge. You can go in person to DC out of your own pocket, right? So you could pay out of your own pocket and go to DC and have an in-person hearing. You could do it by video. I've accompanied people to these types of hearings where it's a video conference essentially with the veterans law judge. And my experience has always been very, very good. The judges seem very receptive, very open to hearing the story around the condition. So don't be afraid of going that route. Most of this stuff sounds scarier than it is, but you do need to be prepared. And I will tell you, like I've said before, do your homework, develop your claim, take the pressure off prior to filing your claim by filing that intent to file. It buys you some time. Read the schedule of ratings for your condition, work with your doctor, establish your nexus, all of those things. So with that, I'll go ahead and end it here. Thanks for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.